Let's add someone watching just for the fun of it.
All right, we're live. I didn't put the countdown. I forgot to do it. Sorry.
Not a problem.
All right. How's everybody doing today, Ivan?
Spectacular. And I'd like to introduce John Williams. He's C6's technical service director, the man behind the phone calls, and the one that's doing all the legwork to make sure installers are well taken care of and have their questions answered. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, John. I'm sure a lot of people will be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. So the C6 Ceramics. So Ivan, obviously, I know you're from DIY Detailing, C6 Ceramics, and some other brands in the past. And you just launched this on this past Wednesday, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so could you tell the viewers what separates DIY Detail from C6 Ceramics?
So C6 Ceramics is the professional detailing arm or professional coatings arm of DIY. The prep products, the maintenance products will all remain the DIY products that we all know and love. But the C6 Ceramics part of it is sort of an offshoot. And it came about in speaking with our chemist when developing the DIY coatings. I had the crazy notion to ask him, what would a coating look like if money were no object? And his reply, he straightened up his lab coat and smiled a little, which is rare for him, and said, yeah, no one would ever buy it. I said, leave that part up to me. So this is a coating that's never been seen before. Our cost is much higher than what some coating companies charge you for their coating, never mind what they pay for it. But the technology and the science behind it has been intriguing to me. We not only have automotive coatings, but we have marine coatings and industrial coatings. We actually did a tractor today, an old, early 60s John Deere that now has perfectly shiny rust patina on it. Nice. The green came back, but more importantly, this is a family heirloom. It's protected, and it's there,
it'll stay looking the way it is now.
Yeah. Perfect. But the automotive ceramic side, which is what your viewers are more interested in, is very, very different than what they've known before. For me, a professional coating, should be extremely easy to apply. B, as a coating company, I don't want to pay rent in someone's shop. So 1 hour after it's installed, it can drive away in the rain.
Perfect.
And single layer, no multiple layers, nothing like that. No IR curing lamps. Just simple, easy install that's going to last the lifetime of the car. And a lot of people will, throw their arms up at the lifetime. The reason we can say lifetime is two things, or two components. Silicon nitride, which keeps the coating flexible and reduces fracturing. And the other one is the refined detonated nanodiamonds. And the refined detonated nanodiamonds are something that is not in the DIY coatings because of the cost.
Okay.
It's cost prohibitive.
Is that similar to, I guess, what I know CarPro's D-Quartz, and I know there's another company doing the nanodiamonds as far as is that the same family, I guess, of nanodiamonds, or is this?
A little different. So NGNT, what's their real name? Anyways, I used to
I know what you're talking about.
Diamond Protec. They use diamond nanotubes, and D-Quartz is using detonated nanodiamond powder, whereas for us, we're using refined detonated nanodiamonds. Different technology. Both the D-Quartz and ours are produced the same way, which means you take a piece of carbon and you explode it inside a chamber, and that resulting explosion is what
makes the nanodiamonds.
What converts carbon into diamonds, heat, pressure.
Nice. Okay. All right. So it sounds like because that's what I've been seeing, nanodiamond seems to be the way that coating technology is headed as it gets more researched and more affordable. Eventually, more will spill over to the consumer side, I'm assuming.
Yeah, a little bit. And the detonated nanodiamond process, the ones that D-Quartz is using are a lot less. There's a lot less handling going on than ours, so a lot less expensive. And that's why they can offer a consumer version of that. And yes, it might one day end up in the DIY coatings as well, but for now, we're reserving it for the C6 coatings. So the reason we can say lifetime, because I know a lot of people, once again, that's a question that John gets a lot, is fracturing. So think about, you're doing your coating test on the hood there with 30 some coatings.
Yeah.
You've done a few chemical tests on it, but you didn't go overboard with trying to kill them with chemicals. But at the same time, now you're, easier to type than say definitely. Try refined detonated nanodiamonds, gets even worse.
Yeah,
But
You're going to call them D&Ds.
yeah.
DNTs, there you go.
And Ruben, they will be available in Australia soon. I'm actually visiting Australia in 3 weeks and doing a little tour there. So you'll be able to.
Awesome.
I think he's already bought tickets to one of my events. But anyways, the thing of the desert floor, when it gets wet, it's nice and smooth and glossy. And then as it dries up, everything is still there. The only thing that's gone is the moisture. And with coatings, you put let's say a 3-year coating on from whatever company you want. Over time, fracturing happens, whether it's through chemicals, whether it's through hot and cold. And that fracturing is what breaks down coatings. The coating is still on the surface, but it doesn't have hydrophobics, et cetera, et cetera. John, if you want to answer Ethan's question.
Why not make the C6 ones available for everyone if they're so easy to apply? Well, we want to maintain a professional line of products, so we will have a application process just to make sure that just someone down the street isn't going to purchase it and put it on their car.
Okay.
We want to have a professional product specifically for that. But
So
we will have, at some point, we will have a prosumer grade product, and it'll be Hydro Light. So that one will be available to the public, and that'll be a 6-year coating.
Yeah.
So
About
right
6
now, it sounds like it's about maintaining the brand image. You want people to associate C6 ceramics with the professional detailer versus DIY detail. While yes, it works great for the professional detailer, this is everyone's product. Anyone looking to get into detailing.
Yep. Right. And we had an issue, not an issue, but a concern with the DIY coatings that they work great. And there's a lot of professionals using them, but a lot of the professionals would say, yeah, but I don't want my customers to be able to buy the same coating that I'm using.
Yeah, why would I pay you to put it on when I can buy it and put it on myself? So
Exactly.
this is one for a professional to have in their shop to say, this is the professional line that only approved installers can have.
Right.
Yeah. And like a lot of companies do, G-Technic, I guess, would be similar. They've got their professional only stuff, but then it's like, hey, the rest of this is still available to everybody that needs it. So
yeah, and like most companies, and Ruman, definitely, but it's still not as cold as it is here today. It's 0 degrees Celsius, or actually it was just one little above freezing, not much, but yeah, no. So C6 Hydro Light will be available to the consumers through the DIY website or through the C6 website.
okay, good to know. Now we got a question from Detailing Made Simple. Once open for diamond or hydro, how long does it last? I think you guys just covered that, right? Kind of.
Well, 3 months. So once you've opened a bottle of coating, if you're a professional detailer, you should be opening and going through a bottle more than once every couple of weeks. But yeah, 3 months is how long it lasts.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. And just so everyone in the audience knows, again, my live show is all about you guys answering whatever questions that you have for me or C6 Ceramics or DIY Detail. I'm sure I'm going to be
or anything in general.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to talk about. We could talk about the latest and greatest paste wax you tried. Believe it or not, paste wax is still wildly popular. So
it sure is.
I wanted to add something with how long is it open for. So if you have it over 3 months, I mean, we're recommending one bottle for one car. Obviously, you can do more than one car with it. We just don't want to be in the position where if you have 2 cars scheduled and then you run out of product on the second car. So we're typically saying one bottle for one car, but there will be more than enough for it.
So these are going to be available in the larger, like 100 milliliter, 150 milliliter? No?
Just the 30.
30
Just
mil.
the 30? Okay, so just kind of a one couple per day, maybe. I guess depends on how many cars you go through. But
exactly.
Yeah, that's good. It's maintainable. I know bottling and the whole logistics changes once you start adding more bottle sizes. So
yeah, definitely, and more bottle sizes. We have a 500 mil bottle, which is our industrial coating, but that's a sprayed on coating, and then we have the C6 automotive that is 30 mil bottles.
Awesome. And here's one. I think they're asking them. Do you need to have a garage door in order to be a C6 installer? In other words, do you need some sort of enclosed shop?
No, it can be done outside.
Awesome.
And in Sock's case, he's sort of half in, half out. He's got a garage, but no door. So.
Before I put an air conditioner in my garage, I was kind of dealing with that, and in
Yeah.
Texas, it got bad enough. I was like, I just need to put an air conditioner in here because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and
Especially
mini
in
splits
those-
aren't expensive. Like you can, I put 2 in my bus. They were $600 each. It was definitely a great investment.
Yeah, and I just got a portable unit. I just drilled through the wall and
Oh,
put a
perfect.
vent on there, and boom, there we go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next question here is how does one apply to be able to use C6, which is just through your website?
Yep.
Right.
Go to the website. There will be a button that says become an installer, and then fill out the application. The application will come to me. And then once I have time to get through all the applications, you'll be receiving an email. And shortly after, we'll schedule a phone call. And then we can go over some things specifically about the products and what to do and what not to do. And then that's when the process of me vetting you and making sure you're not just, someone down the street putting around their own car.
Running the lie detector test and the background check, all that good stuff, drug test.
Yeah,
exactly. Blood
Then
sample.
we'll make sure we really, really want to keep this on lock.
Yeah, and also, we really want to know what foam cannon you're using.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't spend $600 on your pressure washer attachments, then sorry.
Yeah,
You can't
no.
do it.
No, honestly, that doesn't play into it. But we just want to know that you're a legitimate business and that you're insured. That's it.
Because you guys, the last thing you want is your products to end up in someone's hands who wasn't serious, and then they're blasting you all over social media because like, oh, I tried this stuff and I had a bad experience. And it could have been somebody that the most they've ever done is use detail spray, and now they're trying to coating and it's smeared everywhere.
Yes, it will be available in Denmark. Our Austrian distributor, which is DIYdetailing.eu, he will have the C6 line in Austria and distributing through Europe. We also have Canadian distribution with TOC Supplies and Australian distribution with Car Care Co.
Well, they got everything covered. So,
and we're working on the UK.
The UK and then Africa. And
we're.
I know South Africa's got a pretty big detailing scene. I've noticed online. So
yeah, they do. They've got a very active detailing scene in South Africa, and it's growing. Not a paste wax, a cream wax.
Wax. So that cream, that's like kind of like between the liquid and the paste, I guess it comes like in a thing, but
roughly the consistency of
toothpaste.
Yeah, toothpaste would be a good one.
Something everybody uses, I hope.
Yeah, exactly. Daily, maybe twice, 3 times a day. But at least twice a day. So basically, roughly the consistency of toothpaste without the grit, obviously, and one that fills amazingly. That was
Perfect,
my goal wax.
I mean, that's what I've always loved about the thicker products is, that's why they're so popular at car shows. Because even if you see cars at car shows that are swirled up all the time because nobody sees it but detailers because we're crazy. But you put a nice wax on that, you barely even notice.
Yeah. Mike, definitely C6 will apply the same as the DIY coatings, even maybe a little easier. So.
All right. Here's a good one for you. Is the price of C6 in Australia going to be competitive with other pro coatings there?
It will be the same price as it is in the US, but converted to Australian dollars.
All right.
Yeah. But it should be competitive. The distributor, Car Care Co., was very excited about it. So.
All right. Let me see. How do you handle high spots on plastic or matte finishes? How do you handle it?
Okay. Yeah. So, Rob, are you talking in general or with?
I think he's just talking in general.
How I handle them is not to get them. Matte finishes, basically you put the coating on quickly, put it in a circular motion, never do cross hatching especially on matte surfaces. You can do cross hatching anywhere else if you want, but on the matte surfaces, you don't want to do cross hatching. Circular motion and wipe on with one hand, wipe on with the other.
And the reason you don't want to do cross hatching, I'm assuming, is because a matte finish has more like peaks and valleys than a smooth glossy finish.
Right.
And it can catch more of that residue.
Yeah. And every time you start and stop with the crosshatch motion, you're creating a high spot. On regular paint, you're leveling, that's fine. On a matte paint or matte plastic, not a good idea.
That's a good point, because I have noticed almost every high spot I leave that's not near the edge of the door is a spot where I stopped in reverse direction.
Yeah.
So
because you're putting more pressure on. I've always been a fan of the circular motion, and I did a training in Saudi Arabia about 10 years ago. And there was a gentleman there that his job, the only thing he ever did was apply coating to a car. He didn't wash cars. He didn't correct cars. He didn't do anything else. He just applied the ceramic coating in that shop because they did about 10 cars a day.
Hey,
and I was talking to him. I
do.
knew he spoke English and high spots, and he looked at me with this dumbfounded look like, what's a high spot? So I asked him, well, you're the one applying coatings here. You must get high spots. The man did not get high spots. He was like a Buddhist monk, just circular motion. But he would start the circular motion above the car and work his pad down. And as soon as the pad touched, he would just keep going, and he put drops of coating on the paint instead of on the applicator. So he would never remove the applicator from the paint.
That's crazy. So he kind of just self-taught himself, but it happened to be a very efficient method.
Oh, definitely. And he did the hood of a Jaguar X-Type, so fairly rounded, not a high spot on it. The coating just leveled out by itself. It was amazing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ruman, there will be some restrictions, but not that much. I found in the past, and this is counterintuitive to what a lot of people think, is that the more installers you have in an area of the same coating, the better it's going to be. Because now you're not competing against another coating brand. You're competing with your other installers in that area. But no, we're not going to put two installers side by side. And when we do have a city, larger city that can handle 2 or 3 installers, we want them to know each other first, and we want them to make sure that they're going to be working together, not working against each other.
So kind of as long as like one shop has more customers than they can handle that might want C6, then all right, somebody else closer by would be able to get it then.
Right. Yeah. Basically, if you're booked out 3 weeks, to me, that means you're not serving your customer base properly. So we need to get someone else in there.
Perfect. There we go.
Adhesion promoter polish.
How can you explain the adhesion promoter polish? It sounds like a primer. So the app is the panel prep itself. So once you get done, you can use it as an enhancement. If someone brings in a new car and they just want an enhancement, you don't need a correction, you can use the app as the enhancement itself. And then once you wipe it off, you don't need to use an IPA rinse or anything like that. You'll just go directly into the coating. And same thing after doing a polish or a correction. Once you get to the paint to the point you want it to be, you wipe off the polish and then hit it with the panel prep, and the panel prep will swell the paint to be more accepting
the
of
adhesion promoter polish.
Yeah. Sorry, the app will swell the paint.
Not confusing.
To be more accepting of the coating itself. So it's like the Velcro for the coating to stick to the paint.
And there's a follow-up question for you.
It needs to cure either between about 10 seconds and 48 hours.
Okay, so would you say this is similar to other primer polishes, or
a little different? So we're actually chemically swelling the paint. We're purposely swelling the paint. And there's a bit of SiO2, there's a bit of polysilazane in the app, and it locks it in the swollen state. And then you've got about 48 hours or so to apply the coating.
Okay, because I know using, like, people would use just straight, or 50-50 IPA mixes. Which would swell the paint. Yeah. Except that we don't want the paint swelling in that case. But with you guys have figured out a method where you can take advantage of the paint swelling to work in your favor.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very interesting.
I've been recommending that if you have the time to put the app on itself, you should have time to do the coating. So there wouldn't really be a reason to be putting it on and just letting it sit there for 48 hours or however long. It should be like about a 20-minute process to buzz around the entire car, get it wiped down, and then go directly into the coating.
All right. And then Chris says waxes are still great against water spotting, have a low sliding angle. Ivan actually learned that from you about waxes absorbing water spots, because I realized I never really had a water spot issue until I started using ceramic products.
Right.
Not that I have a big issue, but I would notice them more often,
Right. So with C6, the detonated nano diamonds act a little like graphene in reducing water spots because of the way they work against the minerals.
Okay.
But wax is great in terms of preventing water spots. So no, Sock, I think you can afford a $20 palm sander. But so the app we found works best with a 3 to 8 millimeter stroke. With a rotary, it doesn't work well. And with anything over 8 millimeters, it doesn't work well either, because you're actually overworking the polish, and it gets like concrete wiping it off.
Okay, well, there you go. The answer is that. So he wants to know about removing paint transfer from scraping your garage door. I
Yeah.
know my approach is normally just to take, granted, you didn't gouge your paint too badly. You're not going to know until you remove it, I guess. You can usually take just some polish, whatever polish you have, put it on a microfiber, and you can just buff it off. That's I found the easiest way, and it cleans up the area a little bit as well. But
Yeah.
Ivan, what would you recommend?
Same thing, least aggressive first. So a bit of polish on a microfiber towel. Start with that. If you need to move up, then yes, you can use a polisher to do that. Again, the least aggressive method, and work your way up.
You can also use, if you have some like Goo Gone or something like that, that's good at taking paint transfer away.
Yeah,
It's another method, but I prefer, like you said, least aggressive. If I can go mechanical before I go chemical, I'm going to do that. So
yeah, definitely.
All right. Will there be a C6 specific product similar to So will C6 have like its own full detailing chemical line?
No.
Okay.
So there'll be two chemicals in the C6 maintenance. We'll put it that way. One is the C6 soap. We haven't named it yet. And then our drying aid, which our drying lubricant is actually a better term. It's a drying lubricant for people using soap and rinsing with water. And that one we actually have a name for. It's mist. But that will be the only two things. Everything else that you need is in the DIY line, from prep to, doing all that fun stuff.
And part of the benefit of the coating itself is that the maintenance is extremely low. So there's no need for toppers after 6 months or coming back in to do a new coating once a year or anything like that. The only maintenance that's required is a standard detailing wash. And if you start to see a decline in hydrophobics or in gloss or, that sort of thing, you can give it a decontamination with an iron remover or water spot remover. The app can work really well as a way to clean it out if you want to give it an enhancement on top of the coating itself.
Okay, that's good. So less products to have to worry about. You don't have to, some companies, they prefer you use their products. So then you've got all these chemicals. Now you got to buy a whole new line of chemicals. And so it's just, hey, we got these products for the coating. Everything else you use, knock yourself out. Have fun.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we want you guys to use DIY products to maintain it, but use whatever you like.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
We have a vested interest here. Yeah.
That's so strange.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So will installers outside of the U.S. have to apply the same way that people in the U.S. would to and talk to you about it, or would they be able to go with their local distributor?
So the local distributor will be handling the vetting process in other countries. So in your case, Rob, TOC. And by the way, Rob, I'll be at TOC probably the second weekend in April. But follow them on social media. You'll find out exactly when I'll be there. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And it says, would you recommend against using NSP primer prior to applying C6?
100%.
Okay. So only use your primer if you are to use a primer.
No, only our primer, not if you're going to be using a primer.
So always use the primer. It's going to be
part of the process.
Understood. Got it. Okay. So with that being said, will they be like, being able to buy the primer and like a kit of 5 polishers or whatever together? Yeah,
there will. And the app goes a very, very long distance.
Too long for how big the bottle is.
Yeah, it's a 16-ounce bottle. You're going to get maybe 40 to 50 cars out of it.
Unless you're like my friend who thinks like he's cleaning off his mirror with Windex and hoses it on there. So
they're going to have a bad day once if they do that. And then after that, they're going to listen to us and only use the right amount.
If you use too much, it overworks too quickly, and then you will
go back to Walmart. Chemical guys, that's all you.
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine. He's not a detailer, but he's heavy-handed when he applies products. And I always tell him, like, you're not cleaning off your grill. We're just lightly misting stuff on there. But no matter how many times I say, he won't listen. Anyways, when the paint swelling goes away, would it reveal the swirls again?
No. So the paint swelling with the app is basically permanent. It's permanent. It'll go away after 48 hours. But if you put the coating on within that 48 hours, then the coating locks it in that way. And the reason we wanted to swell the paint was for the coating to go deeper into the paint.
So will the app, like I know ceramic products in general are very sensitive to humidity.
Right.
And where I'm at, even in the air conditioning, it's still 40 to 50%. It's just always humid. I'm
Yeah.
pretty much underwater. So will the app react similar to humidity
No.
the way coatings will? No. Okay.
So
So
humidity doesn't affect the app. It does affect the coating like any other coating. But the other day we were doing what he describes as 99.9% humidity. It was a sauna
Rain?
in here. Or
Almost.
he thought it was a sauna.
I'm a baby for temperature. It's way too hot. I'm sweating. He's wearing a hoodie and a hat,
Oh, okay.
full socks, and he says I'm still cold. And
Yeah.
I'm working a polisher, sweating like a pig. But
Yeah. But yeah, so no, nothing's gonna die back and reveal again.
Okay. Unless you, for some reason, use the app and then don't put a coating on it.
Yeah, if you put the app, if you do it Thursday afternoon and you come back Monday morning, maybe you might need to do the app again for another 10 minutes.
All right, yeah, Tim's great. He's around. He's around the detailing groups and channels. So, but yeah, he's pretty excited to start using C6. So
yeah, and Tim's got a very unique sense of humor. So
I understand Tim.
Yeah, I understand him too. I had to use in my bus at MTE. So nice, great guy.
Yeah, no, not all forms of humor are appreciated like they should be. No,
and his very unique, very dry sense of humor. He could almost be Canadian.
Almost.
Yeah.
All right. And the paint swelling. Oh, you already addressed that. So after 48 hours, the paint swelling goes away if a coating doesn't get put on it.
Right. But once the coating is on there, that's permanent. It's staying that way.
Gotcha. The application of app, which sanders, since they don't list it on our, well, palm sanders generally are never going to be like 8mm, right? They're always very small.
Well, 2 to 3mm.
Yeah. So you buy any palm sander, you'll be fine. When you're looking at paint polishers, you got to don't get something larger than 8mm, which is usually the entry level polishers.
Yeah. And then we actually played with one that we got on Amazon, and it's a 5mm, 6-inch diameter. It's shall we say, it looks like a certain Mirka brand, but it isn't. And the reviews on it are really good. But it's about $180, so it's not cheap.
Yeah, that's expensive for a Chinese brand.
Yeah,
almost like these companies are the same people that are making other tool brands.
Well, we tried. Actually, bought 3 of them, 3 different ones that were on Amazon, and there was a huge difference. They all look the same, but functionally they're very different. And this one is like super quiet. You don't hear it.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. I like the paddle to turn it on. It's nice.
Yeah,
you're always gonna grab it right there, anyways. So.
Yeah. So low vibration, very quiet. What's the difference about the soap and drying aid versus Incredible Suds and ceramic gloss? So mist doesn't have anything in it to enhance gloss. We're not trying to cover up the coating, and we're not trying to create a topper. It really is a drying lubricant. And then the soap, again, is just very, very high lubricity, and it has some enhancers in it to help. So,
and I know you were saying, when you're using soap and water to use a drying lubricant. So if somebody is using, say, DIY rinseless wash, high possibility of that happening. Perfect. That's already lubricating as you're drying, so save yourself some time there.
Yeah. So you don't need a drying lubricant or a drying aid or whatever when you're using a rinseless wash. But when you are using soap and water, you're left with water on the surface, so you need to have a drying lubricant of some
There you
form.
go. Yeah. There you go, guys. Maybe that can help you out. All right, let's see what this comment says. He used his brand new DeWalt 5-inch palm sander to apply the polish, or probably 5mm, not 5-inch, I hope. And the enhancement job, and it was fantastic. So that's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of people think the
5-inch
random orbital sander is not a real detailing tool until you try it. And when you try it, it's like, oh wait, this actually works, and it's one-handed and it's simple. You could be polishing in one hand and wiping off with the other if you wanted to.
Awesome. Yeah, and 5-inch, I just realized he meant the diameter of the pad.
Yeah, it's not a 5-inch stroke. No.
I had a moment. Don't mind me.
Yeah. People think our 25mm stroke is big, and that's 1 inch. Imagine a 5-inch stroke.
All right. He's on his way to find out what the best cordless palm sander is. Would you say that the power tool brands that are popular with contractors would probably be the best to go with if you're looking for the best
Yeah. So Sock, I know you know Ryan Loeffler. He's using a Milwaukee one, and I think Sock already has the Milwaukee batteries, and that works well. But what I don't like about the battery operated ones is the weight. And I've tried, yeah.
Puts a lot of weight on the back end of it. So
Yep.
Yeah, and I've tried, the Milwaukee. I've tried Ryobi. I've tried Makita, and I've tried DeWalt, and they all have the same downfalls. As I'm concerned, is the weight. And the one that we have here is probably about the same price as a battery operated one. But actually, the best one I found in terms of a plug-in is a $20 unit from Menards. That's a no brand, no name. I think they just call it Tool Shop or something like that. And it was actually very, very good, like quiet, smooth, powerful,
and cheap.
$20. $20. Yeah. And that
beat it.
wasn't on sale. That was their regular price. So you can almost afford one for every job if you wanted.
Yeah. And I know I don't know the names of the brands. I'm not a contractor, of course, but I know there's like some bougie contractor brands too.
Oh yeah, there's
Festool.
Yeah, there's
Festool is one.
Festool,
Go for
Fine.
it, yeah.
There's a lot of
and Flex makes power tools, guys. So
Yeah,
Flex
they do.
polishers, they more than likely have a sander. So to see what
Yeah.
they offer.
Yeah, exactly.
So I figure at least a company that knows how to make paint polishers, not that they're making it for paint, but it's probably a nice tool.
Yeah, definitely. No, Flex does a great job with tools. So.
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Get through the questions here.
And one of the other things with the weight of the palm sander is if you want to be applying the app very gently, you don't want to be really pushing it onto the paint. So having a heavy palm sander is not going to help with applying it either.
Yeah, because you're not polishing the paint; you're applying the app to the paint. Tim, you could be Canadian. Look at that. Yeah.
What's the what was the brand of that fake Merca again? Or sorry, the something that looks very similar to Merca. Not that it is Merca.
Yeah. Well, if you read read the reviews on it, and they're literally people are going, it's as good as my Merca, if not better. So
that's just the reviews. That's not our opinion. So.
Yeah. So there you go.
Pine. I can't even. Pine Dew.
Fedno.
I don't know.
Yeah. Phendo.
Fendo.
This one have the cord and the pad. Is that right?
Yeah. So this one you have to. It had a hose coming out of here that you had to remove, but just 2 screws, and it had the pad brake, and we don't want a pad brake on a polisher, so we took that off. And then the model number is KS, as in Kilo Sam 02-150.
All right. Good to know. And this, if you're watching this live, this will be uploaded usually after 10 minutes as a recording. So you can rewind on that if you missed that. So don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. You guys have an approximate time frame or approximate time from registering to receiving approval?
So that one is a little tough right now. We're experiencing some issues on the back end of the website. So getting the application process done for the people that have already been approved are having a little trouble with that. But that should be worked out by Monday. And then I will be working on approving people. And I mean, if I have 150 of them and it's about 30 minutes a call, maybe 45 if there's, more questions or whatever, it's going to be a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to get it out. But that will be what I'm doing once I get back to my hometown.
So approximately expect up to 1 month.
Oh, yeah. Not that far out.
If you're available before someone else, I'm going to email you to set up a time for a call. I mean, you could, if you applied today, you may be getting a phone call earlier than someone else's if they don't answer their emails or don't answer the phone calls. So if you want to be applied, make sure to watch your email and watch your phone for if I'm calling or sending you emails about information.
And this is from Eddie. I didn't introduce the stud next to him. Eddie, he did. If you're joining us a little after the start, this is John, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. John Williams is the technical service director for C6 Ceramics.
There you go. So if you didn't know, now you know. And if you knew, now you know again.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Christopher may have spoken with you already, so that's great.
Yes. Well, I'm excited for you to use it also.
Yeah, and
probably the spelling of that name, I'm sure you didn't forget.
Yeah, he's in Iceland. So
Iceland. Oh yeah, it's an Icelandic name. I always wanted to go up there, but
yeah, it would be
maybe
cool.
one day.
Yeah, very cool.
When traveling isn't super expensive anymore, if that happens.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, let's see.
COVID pricing never went away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still going through questions here. I'm trying to get caught up. Eddie's having a conversation with everybody, so I can't focus.
Come on, Eddie.
Eddie, you're just too popular. This is turning into the Eddie show. There we go. So what are the consequences of not fully removing app, and will the durability be diminished?
I think once the app is on, you want to get it off as best as you can. I mean, if there's a little bit, that's not the end of the world. I mean, I don't want to say that because I don't want someone to think, oh, I didn't wipe it off the windows. I can still apply it to the windows. You try to get it off as best you can. If you do notice some of it is overworked, you can try to reapply it with a little more app and then wipe it down after that. Less pressure, less product is the main issues with overworking it.
So let me show something here. I don't know if
So you're talking about earlier.
Yeah, so that's the industrial. That's before we did it, and then technology is not my friend. Eddie, where are you when I need you? Yeah.
Evan's like, no, they don't want to see that car. No, they don't want to see that car.
No, anyways, this is the after.
Nice. I added some sheen to it. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, no, it's
preserving it as it is.
Like you can see the reflection of your hand in the rust, which is really fun. So
I really like have it applied. When we were spraying the coating on itself, I was in a position that I had a reflection of the light, and as it went on, you just saw the light start to get like the light bulbs start to show up in the paint itself, when before you couldn't see anything in it. So it was really wild to see it happen in person.
With this being applied over rust in that case, is this kind of just like use at your own risk? We're not guaranteeing it's going to stop further rust, or?
Yeah. So basically it's an industrial coating. It's not it is a ceramic, but it's not a ceramic coating like your traditional, like the C6 Hydro or Diamond.
A little thicker.
Yeah. It goes on about 15 microns thick. So half a mil. So you're putting it on with a paint gun.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Industrial coating, not a sexy car coating. It still looks great, but it's industrial use.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to put it on your car.
No.
Unless my car looks like that I might want to.
Yeah. If you've got a
guitar, that'd be great.
There's a lot of rat rods here in Texas. So
yeah.
And there's cars that are just, cars last forever here because they don't rust, but some of them are just rusting from neglect. And you just see, car older than your parents at the car shows. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think they just had a Texas 2K not too long ago, which just crazy drag races. Yeah. So, see a lot of cool cars in Texas.
Police activity down there for that, didn't they?
What's that? Police activity every weekend following because people go street racing through Houston.
They did something. Didn't they say something like they were impounding or something like they were going to crash?
So they've been doing that for years. Basically, anyone they catch out street racing, just no questions asked. They just tow the car and impound it. And when this weekend comes, Houston PD is ready for it. So you're lucky if you don't get caught, but it's best just not to do it, But it's been a thing here for a long time. So they at least wait till the roads are empty. So if they hurt anyone, it's themselves. All right. So what are the insurance requirements, and do you have a requirement for minimum time in business? He's done a dozen or so coatings over the last few years for friends, etc. I'm thinking about getting licensed and just going full-fledged business. That's actually, I never went full-fledged business. I went partial business, but that's similar to what I did. But
it would be mostly for what you're going to do with your business. I mean, it's just what you think you need to be covered for is the insurance you're going to want to have for the coatings.
Yeah, and every jurisdiction is different as to what you need to be licensed and insured. We're
if you need like a garage keeper's policy, if you're going to keep the car, I mean, how many cars you're keeping, if you have one car instead of 10 cars, or, if you have other people working on the cars, or if it's, things can be different for every situation. So whatever's going to work for you.
All right. So it's not that you guys necessarily have it. It's just making sure their business, however their business is set up, is taken care of with that.
Because basically we don't want a C6 consumer. So someone that had their coating done by someone, we don't want it done by a fly-by-night person. We don't want that person disappearing.
showing up, undercutting the market a bunch, selling it for half price, and then just disappearing. I mean,
we're almost in that season too, where it's going to start happening again.
Yeah, exactly.
Snow starts to melt, they start showing up.
Yeah.
And they will charge you some good money and get away with it. They
Yeah.
go, oh, my car's all messed up. Well, they're not there anymore, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
All
The
right.
last people that did it only charged $50. They're out of business because of that.
Go back to them if you can find them.
Don't pay that little.
Oh, great question, Eddie. So what did we use to spray? Today we use an HVLP, a 3M HVLP gun, which isn't the ideal thing. We have ordered a HVLP turbine system, but apparently no one keeps them in stock. So it took a little longer than expected. And the turnaround time, so our industrial coating is catalyzed, meaning that 4 hours after it's shot, you can start driving around in the field, and 72 hours, you can start spraying chemicals.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, and related to that a little bit, the automotive coatings, once the coating is on, it'll be 1 hour cure time to get back to the customer and 7 days for the first wash.
Yeah. A Graco Pro Comp 9.5.
All right, 9.5. There you go.
Yeah, for the industrial coatings, no one is allowed to purchase them unless they have the proper sprayer, but more importantly, the proper personal protection equipment. And that is a full-on PAPR, so a powered personal air respirator, and the full bunny suit. So you're going into a hazmat situation.
Detailing made simple. He's about to start making some real money.
Yeah, there you go. I asked about that on the way home. I said, "There's a whole train car right there. Let's get the trains."
Yeah, no, definitely. There are some cities using industrial coatings on subway trains. So if you could get that contract stock, go for it. Repelling the rats, probably not. Yeah,
I don't think anything keeps those things away other than keeping it clean. But you don't know what happens with subway. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's see what else we got here. Kinds of trainings are you guys offering at DIY headquarters?
At the DIY headquarters, we'll be doing trainings eventually. The place isn't set up yet for that, but we will have hands-on trainings for DIY. For C6, there is no training required. If you can't apply another brand of coating, then you probably shouldn't be applying this one. No, but it's the easiest coating you'll ever apply.
If you've done it before, you can do this one, and it'll be easier to apply, wipe it off. It's a great product.
Yeah, for the industrial coatings, training is required. And right next week, actually Thursday, Friday, we have a training in Columbus, Nebraska for C6 Industrial. And then April 5th and 6th, or 4th and 5th, I'm at Car Supply's warehouse doing a training there.
There you go. And Ivan, you're always just showing up in random spots. So, keep your eyes out with your local shops, larger shops that host events and everything, because Ivan might be showing up there one day. You never know. I saw one recent place you were at. I forget where it was. It was somewhere forgettable, but Ivan was there.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing with the industrial training as well, if you were in a situation where you want to fly out the trainer to your farm, he can come out and do the tractors out there as a training for other people in that area as well.
Yeah, and thanks, Audie. Yeah, definitely.
Audie's the man.
Yeah, paint is paint. It doesn't matter what vehicle it's on. Yeah. And a lot of detailers are caught up on, I want to do a Lambo, I want to do a Ferrari. The room we were in today,
the money's not there.
Yeah, where we did the tractor, there was maybe $3 million worth of equipment there, 5 pieces.
Didn't look pretty, but it costs a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
We just had one of the.
It'll look pretty once you guys are done. But.
We just had one of the early installers. Luke Hayward did a Scion with a C6 coating. So
yeah,
I mean, everything can be.
I'll tell any detailers that are looking to do all the fancy cars, doing one every now and then. It is fun. It's enjoyable because you don't get to see those cars all the time. But everybody that I know that's been detailing for multiple years is doing good at it. Hiring employees. They are mostly just knocking out interiors and basic, regular outside washes, maybe with something spray it down after. But they're just getting those through the shop and doing a good job efficiently. And that's where the real money is.
Yeah, and when I had my shop, our bread and butter were Honda Civics and Ford Focuses and, Nissan Sentras, things like that. Meanwhile, my employee parking lot, though, had BMWs, Jaguars, Mercedes. So it's a little different. But yeah, you can, detailing is something you can make a lot of money with, and you can hire employees, et cetera, et cetera. And we did it without exotics. So.
And if you do it the way I do it, where I take jobs as they come in, but on my time, not on everyone else's time, we try to make them match up as best we can.
Yeah.
You can get more picky with what you want to accept and what you don't want to accept when it's just extra income. So I offer interior, but I just offer like, this is my one interior. It costs $400 and up. If you don't want to pay for it, I'm not going to do the interior. And some people still pay for it because they really want it done. But mostly, most people, they just, hey, you do ceramic coatings, right? I'm like, yeah, I can have it done in the weekend. Sure. Drop the car off, get it done. And that's what I like to do, because I like to just sit out there, music playing, and just polish away and watch everything get shiny again. But other people hate doing that, and they love crawling around on the inside of cars. So.
Yeah, my son, you gave him the choice between, driving a customer's Ferrari home or detailing a minivan that a family lived in for 6 years. He'd pick the minivan. Yeah,
some people they fire up that extractor and go to town, and like some people go to town a little bit too much and leave it moldy, and then it goes to the other guy that's like, it's moldy now. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, insurance.
Gone to the $50 guy. I don't know.
So bro diesels, definitely. The C6, for me, a professional coating should be the easiest coating someone could ever apply. As a hobbyist, you've got time to play around with different curing times and lights and all sorts of fun stuff. As a professional, get them in, get them out.
All right, and Eddie's headed out. Eddie, thanks for stopping by. Saying SPTA is the best bougie life, and the SPTA is a power tool company, and I'm pretty sure they have a palm sander as well. You can find.
They do, and they actually make really good tools too.
Yeah, I have their entire line of cordless polishers, and I don't think these are the best things ever made, but for what I paid for and what they do, I'm like, this is amazing. So
yeah, they are.
What other polisher you can get with 2 batteries for under $300?
Nice, not too many.
Yeah. All right, what other questions we got? Audie makes a good point. Doesn't matter what it is. Make the ordinary extraordinary.
Yep, exactly.
All right, here we go. What's the difference between the primer polishes and app that makes others not require a specific type of polisher or sander, that short orbit oscillation? Yeah,
so the other ones are basically polishes that are deep cleaners. For us, because of the swelling, because of the ceramics in it, if you overwork it, it becomes like concrete to remove. And, the mentality has to change a little bit. We're literally using less than half an ounce of polish to do a whole car. Your pad, so this goes against everything I've taught all of you guys for the last 40 years. We're using a dry pad, we're using a 3mm sander, and we're not cleaning the pad as we go, because when you start and when you finish, your pad should look the same. This pad has done 3 cars with app. We haven't cleaned it yet.
So with app, it seems you're more just gently massaging the surface to get it on there and it's spread evenly, versus these other primer polishes, you're actually trying to just mechanically smooth down the surface and warm it up a little bit to get it to stick.
Yeah, this you're not.
This is just, hey, this is the most efficient tool to get it on there fast, but we're not trying to work the surface.
No, we've done a lot of testing. Trust me, if it could have been done with a rotary, I would have told everyone just get a rotary.
Good point.
But the rotary is my favorite tool. And like I said, if I could have done it with a rotary, I would have been doing it with a rotary. But
how many miles on the Lacroix Cruiser now?
1.6 million.
I just asked million. I was curious also.
Yeah.
Goodness, I don't think I've ever seen an odometer that high.
Well, it just says 600,000, but I know the one before it. So.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah.
I've been keeping track. All right. Yeah. There's another one here that somebody said that I went by. That was it.
Great.
Got a reply.
Yep.
So there you go. Look at that, Anton. You're one step closer.
Yeah.
All right. And how many section passes with the app? Is 2 recommended? I think from what you guys were just saying, there's no additional passes needed. Just make one pass through and it's on there.
As long as it's on the surface, you're good to go. And you can wipe it off immediately. So do a panel, wipe it off, or you can do the whole car and wipe it off later. It's really up to you. There's no difference there. And when you're putting it on, you should basically just see that you've put something on the surface. It doesn't look like a polish on the surface. It just makes the surface look a little hazy.
So kind of like when you're machine applying wax, you're just looking to cover the whole surface. That's it.
Perfect.
That's it.
Yeah, great example.
And then one of the
So
benefits
you can kind of move with a little bit of speed here versus slowly.
Yeah, and then another benefit of the app is that when you are removing it and wiping it down, the towel will pick some up, and if you run into those little nooks and crannies that maybe the pad couldn't get into, as you're wiping it off, it will fill in with the app itself.
All right. Why wasn't app made sprayable? Is it just you don't want people to inhale it?
No, because it actually uses too much.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
So,
like we're
then
putting.
that's
It would be one spray for the whole car, and you can't spray one spray on a whole car.
it reminds me because Ivan's always been a fan of the sprayable polishes. That's why he made the DIY sprayable. And the point of that was so you use less polish and spread it out evenly because a lot of the polish you dab on gets wasted. It's not really, used in correction. And now we're taking it a step further. Like, no, the spray is too much. Just get to this drop on and you're good to go.
Yeah, and the drop is minuscule. Like a pea-sized drop is too big.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's per panel?
For
the whole vehicle.
2 or 3 panels.
I mean, a lot of what we've been doing lately is filming a lot of stuff for information for installers and for clients and everyone in between. But so there'll be a lot of content for you to see of us actually using it. And
Okay.
in one of them, we just did a Corvette yesterday that I think I put 2 drops, and I did the roof, the trunk, and the rear quarter panel all in one that same application.
Yeah.
So does app leave a noticeable film on the surface so you know where you've applied it and where you need to wipe off?
Yeah, it just leaves a very, if you're doing a white car, I hate detailing white cars, but anyways, that will be the most difficult one to do. If you're doing a black car, great. Yeah.
Okay. And then I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. It'll probably come back to me. Sorry. Yvan, do you do the maintenance and repairs on the bus yourself that don't require any extremely heavy lifting?
Yeah, even if they require heavy lifting.
You're in there doing it.
The only thing I probably wouldn't do is the transmission, but the engine, not a problem. I've rebuilt the engine in our previous bus. Suspension, brakes, all that fun stuff. So.
And you always just develop that stronger connection to your vehicle when you're the one doing it.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
Yeah, and I'll say, guys, if you follow my channel, I'm a car guy. I'm into cars, performance cars and things like that. Yvan as well. Every now and then, Yvan will bring up a old school but well known, fast car from its time or powerful car from its time.
Yeah,
and I know that's what led me to detailing because I wanted to have the nice car that I could afford at any given time.
Yeah,
but I also wanted it to look nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I wanted to show it off to people.
Yeah. And I've had close to 80 cars so far. So,
Okay. I worked as a contractor for Sport Clips for a while, and I saw a good chunk of the owner's car collection. He really likes European cars.
Yeah.
So I can imagine. I think you and him may be around the same age.
Okay.
He's got a lot. He even has a car from the 1930s that used to belong to his father that ended up in Europe, and he got it back to the United States. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then Yvan said he does it personally, right?
Yeah. I can't afford to hire a mechanic, so.
The app as a standalone, how long does it last? 48 hours. Right?
Yeah, it's the ceramic in it isn't there to provide a protection. It's there to help adhere it and also keep the paint in the swollen state until you put the coating on it.
Okay, so if you're not applying the coating, app is going to be a waste of your time and money.
Yeah, Now the app will work with any coating, but definitely, trying to use the app and do nothing else after that, no good.
Yeah, the
Will app work with water-based coatings and sealants?
Yep.
The C6 is, and the app is it's a 2-step application, so you need to do both of them. You can't do one or the other. And we've had a lot of the other installers using the app as a panel prep before using other coatings, and they said they had good results with it.
Awesome, great.
Yeah.
So it seems like app is going to be a good way to do
fast enhancements.
Yeah, fast enhancements without having to bust out your polisher. So that's
for a new car, it's great.
Oh yeah. I like using rotaries on new cars because it just glides across and you're good. But
so do I. Yeah.
All right. Well, this Ivan, Tim says you're the man, and he's honored to think you'd be a good Canadian, even someone from Montreal. And that's saying something.
Yeah, well, I'm close to Montreal. I'm an hour away from Montreal. But, truth be known, I'm one of 8 Canadians that I have a license that I'm allowed not to follow hockey. But other than that, I'm a true Canadian.
That's good. I know when I was a kid, my older sister, because we lived in New Hampshire, we were about an hour drive from Montreal.
Yeah.
And that's where everyone that was 18 but under 21 went to have a fun weekend. So
exactly, yeah.
Or it's a fun place.
Still the case today. Yeah.
All right. West Caddy's late. Was there a discussion about C6 Hydrolite? A little bit, but we could revisit it, right?
Yeah, so C6 Hydrolite should be available in roughly a week, maybe 2. We're just waiting on labels, which seems to be a continual theme with us. But anyways, once we get the labels in, the product is ready to go. And Hydrolite, super easy to apply. It slates itself above the DIY coatings, so somewhere between DIY and C6.
Do you want to go through the chart of all the DIY?
Yeah, so if you looked at a hierarchy, you'd have the 3, 5, 8, 5, 3 stack, 8, 3 stack, and then C6 Hydrolite.
Perfect.
Then C6 Hydro,
Yeah.
C6 Diamond Gloss.
Yeah. If you're using something other than gold standard polish, do you need to panel prep before the app? No, the app is your panel prep.
That's the IPA rinse after.
So the difference between app being the primer and some of these other primer that we know about is app is a panel prep. The other ones are polishes.
Yeah.
So
great way to
I know there's some companies, and FanLab's making something. I think it's like a rinseless panel. It's a rinseless prep. So it seems in that similar family because it's I don't know what it's doing. I'm going to find out if I can, but it's interesting. All right. And then will app be sold to the public?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It should already be on the DIY site. If it isn't, it should be by Tuesday.
So are they going to come in glass or metal?
No, I've never been a fan of glass bottles for coatings for 2 things. I tend to drop things. So a glass bottle is not a good thing. And it lets light in. No matter how dark your glass bottle is, there's still light getting in. Whereas our aluminum bottles, there's no light getting in.
Yeah, and they don't break. Yeah, like you said, that's nice. Because I have not done it, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I'm always worried about, am I going to drop this bottle and smash the whole thing?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then has the price point been discussed?
$299.
$299?
Yeah.
$299, right?
$299 for 30 mils.
For 30 mils. Okay, there you go. And what about app? How much is that going to be? And what size does it come in?
It's right now it's a 16-ounce bottle, which will do about 40 to 50 cars if you're following our instructions. And I think it's $34.99.
$37.99.
$37.99.
But it comes free after you're approved. And this is stuff we'll go over on a phone call too. But if once you're approved, then there will be an installer's kit you can purchase. The installer's kit will have 2 bottles. You can get it's a mix and match if you want 2 diamond or 2 hydro. I would recommend 1 of each to test them. But then you'll get the app itself for free.
Not free. Included.
Included. Yeah, it's not free. It's included.
Not swearing. The F word.
Be careful with those words because people will get you.
Don't use the
You
F
said it was free. Why does it cost more money? Sorry, that's not what I meant. Please forgive me. This is the worst brand I've ever. That's people out there that be like that. So it's all right. Well, let's see. We got no more questions in. John, I know. Obviously, we know my social medias and Ivan's social medias. Do you have any social medias for people to follow?
Yeah, I mean, my personal social media is Cookie Johnster, like Cookie Monster, but Cookie Johnster. You can follow that if you like. I don't have a work one. I don't know. That might be something that comes later.
Is there going to be a C6 Ceramics YouTube channel separate from DIY, or is it all
already is?
Yep, there is.
And we have
close there is. Okay.
I think we hit 500 subscribers today. So in 1 week, that's really good. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
We don't have many videos up there yet, but we've recorded a lot of content, and we're working on getting that out there.
Useful visual information for people that want to see C6 and see what's going on visually with it.
So we have some cool cars, some guests as well. We had Jason Kilmer on, so that'll be a video coming out shortly. So,
all right, and is Diamond hydrophobic?
The Diamond is hydrophobic. between the two, the hydro we've kind of recommended as a daily driver car just because it is more hydrophobic, so easier to clean, less road grime and that sort of thing. The Diamond is also extremely hydrophobic, but the way the compounds are set up, you can't have the best of both worlds. So we have the Diamond for more gloss for the weekend car, maybe the Sunday driver, and then the hydro for the daily driver.
So performance characteristics between hydro and hydro light, it's a durability thing. The C6 Hydro Light, we're saying 6 years. C6 Hydro is lifetime. The big difference is if you get a high spot with Hydro Light, you won't want to kill someone. Whereas if you get a C6 with Hydro, you're not going to be a happy camper. You're basically, compounding, polishing that whole panel and starting that panel over again.
All right.
But the nice thing about the coatings itself is they are a little bit forgiving. I mean, you're going to want to level once you put the coating on, but there's a little bit of time while the coating is curing in that first hour that you can catch high spots. So once you get it done, be sure to go around and do a inspection of the vehicle and knock down high spots. If you see one that's not coming off, you can put a little bit more of the coating on itself. The app works really well to wipe it off if there's a high spot. So,
and you have to be very careful. If you have a drop of water that's hiding behind an emblem or something, instant high spot.
Yeah. So make sure to dry the car really well, blow it dry in all the nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, that wraps up the time for today, guys. Ivan and John, I appreciate you. Everybody watching, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'm trying to do these weekly unless I got something planned. And then join the Facebook group, Bellavoro Detailing Community. It's probably one of the most relaxed pages on Facebook. Yep. There's also the DIY detail page. Ivan's very active in there. Nick's very active in there as well. John, are you in that group answering questions for C6 as well?
Yeah, and we once you're approved, there'll be a C6 installers Facebook, and then there'll be a public C6 page as well that I'll be more active in.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, definitely be sure to check it out. C6 is launched now, so if you're interested in applying, go ahead and apply, and John will get you taken care of. If you got any questions, feel free to ask John or Ivan. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions, get you tongue-tied. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and you guys have a good one.
Take care.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks, everyone.